Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for November the 29th. Today we are reading in Proverbs 12, the little single sentence sayings of the wisdom of Solomon that are recorded for us in Proverbs 12. As we have been doing in this particular section, we're going to read the entirety, all 28 of the Proverbs, and I'm going to give you my top three for today. I have three I'm going to give a little extra attention to, and please feel free in the comments section to share any of these sayings, any of these short snippets of wisdom that stand out to you as well. Love to see what it is that really pops off the page at you. Maybe there's some experience that you've had in your life where you've seen these play out and be helpful, and that can encourage us to follow this wisdom as well. Again, thanks for tuning in. Let me go and get the text up on the screen for us. Proverbs chapter 12. Beginning in verse number 1, Proverbs 12, verse number 1, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but the one who hates correction is stupid. I do appreciate the CSB's very blunt language. Verse 2, one who is good obtains favor from the Lord, but he condemns a person who schemes. No one can be made secure by wickedness, but the root of the righteous is immovable. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a wife who causes shame is like rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just, but guidance from the wicked is deceitful. The words of the wicked are a deadly ambush, but the speech of the upright rescues them. The wicked are overthrown and perish, but the house of the righteous will stand. A man is praised for his insight, but a twisted man is despised. Better to be disregarded, yet have a servant, than to act important, but have no food. The righteous cares about his animal's health, but even the merciful acts of the wicked are cruel. The one who works his land will have plenty of food, but whoever chases fantasies lacks sense. The wicked desire what evil people have caught, but the root of the righteous is productive. By rebellious speech, an evil person is trapped, but a righteous person escapes from trouble. A person will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the work of a person's hand will reward him. A fool's way is right in his own eyes, but whoever listens to counsel is wise. A fool's displeasure is known at once, but whoever ignores an insult is sensible. Whoever speaks the truth declares what is right, but a false witness speaks deceit. There is one who speaks rashly, like a piercing sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue only a moment. Deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy. No disaster overcomes the righteous, but the wicked are full of misery. Lying lips are detestable to the Lord, but faithful people are his delight. A shrewd person conceals knowledge, but a foolish heart publicizes stupidity. The diligent hand will rule, but laziness will lead to forced labor. Anxiety in a person's heart weighs it down, but a good word cheers it up. A righteous person is careful in dealing with his neighbor, but the ways of the wicked lead them astray. A lazy hunter doesn't roast his game, but to a diligent person, his wealth is precious. There is life in the path of righteousness, and in its path there is no death. Proverbs 12. All right, so for my three for today, my first one's going to be verse number 15. A fool's way is right in his own eyes, but whoever listens to counsel is wise. It gets back to really some of the foundational principles that we have established from here in the Proverbs. Number one, we have to have a humility before wisdom. We have to recognize that we need wisdom and that wisdom can help us. We need to recognize that we don't have all the answers in and of ourselves. I tell people all the time, a lot of the good ideas or the good thoughts or basically anything I do that is worthwhile, it's probably not original with myself. It's probably something that I've gathered from other people, a wide range of people, their thoughts, their knowledge, their wisdom, their application of such. We all normally, even the wisest among us, see great value in taking what other people have said or have taught and have learned, and applying that to ourselves, and growing our own knowledge and wisdom by listening to others. But those who are know-it-alls, they normally are the dumbest among us. Why? Because they're only drawing from one source, and that's themselves, and that's not a very deep source. For me, I'm not me in and of myself. I'm not a very deep source. But whenever I can draw from other sources, I can really normally accomplish something pretty good. So the fool says, I have all the answers. The fool says, I don't need to listen to anyone else. The fool says, I know it all. But the wise person is willing to listen to other people. The wise person is able to draw from a variety of sources in order to grow and to have actual wisdom and knowledge that they can apply. So that's my number 1, verse 15. Well, number 2 is right behind it in this verse, number 16. A fool's displeasure is known at once, but whoever ignores an insult is sensible. Those who are not willing to those who are not willing to just allow something negative that happens to roll off their back like water off a duck's back. Those who have to respond to every single slight, those who have to respond to every single insult, those people, their lives are normally very chaotic and very troubled. Think about it from the perspective of just driving. Those people who go off as soon as somebody fails to use a blinker, or those who go off if they're cut off, those people normally escalate situations, and they lead to real road rage incidents. But what this proverb tells us is that sometimes we just need to let things go. Sometimes there are insults, there are slights that are committed against us that are just not worthy of us flying off the handle about. Somebody that I think you've heard me talk about before, but this YouTube channel, Active Self-Protection, teaches a lot about self-defense and how to handle yourselves in various types of situations. He talks about living a life of de-escalation, escape, and evasion. So if you're in a situation where somebody slights you or insults you, if you're in a confrontation, just try to de-escalate the situation first and foremost. Try to bring down the temperature. And then if you can escape that situation, get out of that situation. And then evade. If there's somebody's chasing you, evade that. We have to do our best to stay out of these conflicts. The more conflict we can just avoid by being willing to just suffer and insult, the better off we're going to be. And I think there's a great deal of knowledge here, because normally those who don't suffer an insult really think a lot of themselves. They think, oh, how dare you insult me, or how dare you slight me? That type of attitude is just arrogance. It's thinking that you're really important. But part of humility is being willing to let something go so that it doesn't have the chance to escalate to something more than it should be. So that's my number 2 proverb for today, verse number 16. My last one is verse 23. I like this one a lot. A shrewd person conceals knowledge, but a foolish heart publicizes stupidity. There's a saying that I've heard from a number of different people. Better to let people think you are a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. So better to let people think that you are a fool than to open your mouth and let them know that they're right. Again, there is much wisdom in not having to say something about everything. There is wisdom in I think about me on Twitter during sporting events. There are times where I'll type out a tweet and I want to send it, and I think to myself, you know what? There's just no reason to say that. There's no reason to put this out into the internet. It doesn't help anybody. It's just going to make people mad or whatever it might be. We can find ourselves in situations like that on any sort of the social media sites We can find ourselves in those situations among a group of people in a maybe a class setting or a meeting type setting. We don't always have to say something. We can, there's a lot of wisdom in just keeping maybe a thought to oneself. But those who are fools, they feel like they've got to say everything, and everything that comes to their mouth automatic, or everything that comes to their brain automatically comes out their mouth. There's no filter in between. And that allows people to see, well, that person just isn't very smart. Person's kind of foolish. And that's revealed by them having to say something. So that's my third one today. We don't always have to say something. There is great wisdom in making sure that the filter between your brain and your mouth is properly functioning, and straightening out those things that simply do not need to be said. So those are my top three for today. Verse 15, a fool's way is right in his own eyes, but whoever listens to counsel is wise. Number 2 is verse number 16. A fool's displeasure is known at once, but whoever ignores an insult is sensible. And then number 3 is verse 23. A shrewd person conceals knowledge, but a foolish heart publicizes stupidity. Those are my top 3 for today. Do you have any that stand out to you? Please feel free to leave those in the comment section, either here on Facebook or YouTube. I do appreciate you tuning in today. We'll be back at it again tomorrow as we read through Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13 on the schedule for tomorrow, which is November the 30th, the last day of November. We are 11/12 of the way done through the year. How quickly it seems to have passed. But I hope that our daily Bible readings that we have been doing have been beneficial to you as we progress through the prophets earlier and the New Testament, and now as we make our way through Job, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes. Again, thanks for tuning in.